Guru Kripa Kevalam. Namaste everyone. Very warm welcome to Satsang this evening. Sadguru Sri Muji Baba ki Jai. We say Om Shanti 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 means that why are we praying for Shanti, invoking Shanti? Because we already identified the tormentor. Is it? Peace is Shanti. And we invoke this peace because somewhere we must have already identified that lack of peace is the trouble. And most of us in Satsang also identified that where does this lack of peace come from? It might feel like it comes from a situation. Oh, my partner is like this. One of the most common ones in the world. Isn't it? Whether you're Indian or you're European or American, partner is like this. Or the body is like this. Or my money is like this. Irrespective of cultural background, geographical location, we feel like it is a particular situation which can lead to lack of peace. But my master says, nothing in the world has inherent meaning. And paradoxically, this statement has a lot of meaning. Nothing in the world has inherent meaning. It's very meaningful from a certain perspective. So can we explore if this is true? And see if there's a route to Shanti, if there is such a thing. So, can this lead to lack of peace? I'm purposely not defining it. An appearance. A body could appear just in the same way that this, whatever it is appearing. It's just an event, a situation, or a set of perceptions. Now, how can this lead to lack of peace? Yes. But before you can have ideas about it, you need to know what it is. So you can say, I know this is water. And once you know it is water, especially if you live in Bangalore, it can cause a lot of lack of peace. Isn't it? Because this building itself, we used to have 2 bore wells which used to give us water. Now we have to get 5 tankers every day. The bore wells have run out. Yeah? Not able to zoom today because the controls are not working. Yeah? So once you know this is water, then all your concepts about water can come. What's going to happen in 5 years? Bangalore will run out of water. What are people going to do? There are going to be water wars. So much lack of peace. But before you defined it, what was that? It can also lead to some sort of conceptual happiness in a way, if there is such a thing. Water, such a nice thing. You give life to everything. Without water, this world will be so thirsty. Such a God's gift to us. So concepts can be this way or this way. Is there such a thing like a neutral concept? So neutrality is not of the mind, because any concept that it says, even if it says water is, we are then talking about the positiveness of the being of water, the presence of water. It's too complicated one. Let's keep it simple to start with at least. So anything in just the appearance of it does not in itself have the capacity to create the lack of shanti, the lack of peace. And we are all at some level searching for a stable peace. So as long as we feel like a certain set of things have to happen in this way, and then peace will come, then we have misidentified the tormentor in a way. We've placed it in the apparent appearance of whatever is being perceived, rather than in the interpretation of it. We looked at such an innocent example, the transparent water, where we can have so many concepts about it, and you can take on a water war, you can take on a water, you might, after hearing 100 concepts like this, you might feel like, I have to start a water NGO, right? Don't waste water type mission, and I can make that the project of my life. Right? Or we can become in service to water, like there was this one, Haley said, everything is made of water. He said the arcade, what we are made up of is water itself. Hmm? Like some would say it is being. He said it is water. You can become water worshippers if you believe the beautiful concepts about it. So it is not the thing in itself which is the cause of trouble. And this is true for all things. It's never about the thing. Then what is it about? They, what we think about it. What we think about it. With me so far, everyone? What we think about it is the source of this lack of peace. Now, who can predict the next thought before it comes? Before your next thought comes, predict it. Like before coming to Satsang, most of us actually believe that we are creating our thoughts in a conscious sort of way. I should not think negative thoughts. I should think only positive, be positive. These kind of things are very prevalent. But who knows which thought will come next? A thought here could also come and say, this is just nonsense what you're speaking. It can come, or a thought can come. This is beautiful. This will really help. Yes. But both of these are just thoughts, and nobody can predict what the next thought will be, because that itself, that prediction itself would be a thought. So once you identify that the source of trouble is this, and we cannot predict which thought will come, then are we lost in this roller coaster? We've identified the source of suffering to be thought, and yet we do not know which thought might come. So does that mean that we are caught in this never-ending roller coaster of suffering and peace? It doesn't. It doesn't mean that. Because irrespective of the thought, there is something in consciousness itself that has the power to make meaning out of it, apparent meaning out of it, or to not give it meaning. So when our master says, nothing in the world has inherent meaning, this is what you know. It is just not even like just an appearance. We can say that, but even that we do not need to say, because even that would be to give it some meaning, that this is just an appearance. So it does have has zero inherent meaning. A thought can be positive, negative, positive, negative. Now, if just by the appearance of these thoughts, would mean that meaning is given. Then it would seem like we are stuck. There's no end to suffering. So every time negative thought comes, we suffer. Every time positive thought comes, it will seem like life is good. It is. Roller coaster is there. Now, thankfully, it is not true that this is all there is to it. Because consciousness takes the content of this message of this voice and uses the power, one of its most primal powers, as much as maybe more than time, space, all of these phenomenal powers are more, even more primal power, called the power of belief. And when I'm saying consciousness, I mean you. The consciousness, I mean you as consciousness. Have the power to log in, as my master would say, or remain untouched. What is this login? Give assent to the meaning of this concept. So now we have seen that the end of suffering is our inner motionlessness. Inner motionlessness. But motionlessness does not mean that emotions can no longer arise. It only means that these emotions are allowed to just come and go. Allowed to just come and go. Why should they be allowed to just come and go? Because they are not representing the truth about who you are. They're representing an identity, which at best is the limited version of who you are. So just like once you figure that somebody has a wrong number, is it? This problem is no longer so much there. When we are growing up, it is more there. You will get these wrong numbers. Right? So if you picked up a wrong number and somebody said, you have to come to Manipal hospital because this emergency has happened. And what you say, but who do you want to speak to? And they say, I want to speak to James. You say, no, Ramananta, wrong number. Okay? Now, if you actually continue to have that conversation, knowing fully well that it's being referred, it is meant for James, not for Ananta. And then you were running around from hospital to hospital because some supposed emergency had happened. What would you feel about such a situation? Stupid, isn't it? But this is the play of humanity currently. But it is a wrong number. The mind is calling me. The I am something, me. The so-called Jivatma. Me. But I am not Jivatma. I am the Atma itself. It needs no prefix, param or Jiv. Because I see no duality in what I am. There is one being. Just because the wrong number is persistent, does it make it true? Got it, no? So I don't know why I'm spelling it out so much today, but somehow this is the one that is here. So lack of peace comes from not the thing in itself, but the idea of the thing. And it is possible in consciousness to remain motionless, even though these ideas might be a tsunami of ideas, tsunami of the mind. And why is it relevant to remain motionless? Why is it, in fact, intelligent to remain motionless? Because this voice that seems to be speaking seems to be speaking to a version of me which I cannot ever find. Nobody has found this person I've asked for 5 years now. So it is a wrong number. Now, the sages realize this. Suffering is from this. Everyone comes to satsang because they are suffering from something or the other, including eventually this suffering from the idea of not knowing who we are. We suffer from not knowing that here there was a urge that got created that till I find out who I am, this life is not enough or it is not worth it. So that is also suffering at some level. It can be a beautiful uh, ultimate desire in a way that it sets fire to everything else. It's a rare desire that sets fire to everything else. But ultimately, it is also a desire. Then, like Bhagwan started his book, Be as you are, he said, but you are the self, you are not this. Finished. That book is a unique one, Be as you are, because the instruction is that read only as much as you have. It's a rare book. Most books come to the conclusion at the end. This book says, as much as you have to, you read. So you start from the beginning. You are the self. You are not this limited one which you take on the pretense of being, that you imagine yourself to be. You are the self. No strategy, no tactic, no practice. Nothing new with this really hits home. I'm the Guruji would say, I'm the limitless one. So you are the self. I was reading I was reading somewhere I saw my own quote. I was going to say I was reading on Facebook, then I realized it's a quote which had Ananta at the bottom. It was nice to say it. It said, God on this side, God on that side. God is what you're tasting, God is what you're smelling, God is what you're hearing, God is what you're seeing, God is the one that is seeing. It's something like this. It was more articulate. Once it hits home like this, that in your naturalness, in Shanti, in peace, is there any distinction? Maybe we can contemplate this for a minute. Because the mind can tell you the story that even in peace there is inherent separation. But you will find that actually nothing is distinction. Even the sensations which claim to be the sensations of separation are within the one wholeness of you, of your being. So then in a way, best is that we lose all language in a way, or labels at least. Language, all language is there, a set of labels. But if you have to use some language, then use a term which you feel is most divine. Some might say self, some might say truth, some might say Guruji, some might say God. So God is everywhere is very commonly spoken, but usually the way it is used is that God is everywhere but me. So you are the self. None of what the mind is saying really applies to anything tangible that is here. It is not that a tangible person is here and you have to come in denial of it and see a greater self. It is that this person never actually is here. There is no tangible entity called the person. It is just a mental construct. That is why nobody can tell me. If I ask them, whose money is it in your bank account? Whose money is that? Is it this body's money? What do you think care? $1 million cannot create one extra cell in this body. Proper speaking as the body. I would rather have like an ice cream or something. But even that the body doesn't say. Body is just like a doll. We project, oh, this one is Barbie, we throw this one is Inspector Gadget. We project these ideas and we're like, okay, she wants this, he wants this. It's like doll, play of dolls. In India, we also get dolls married. And, at least in the north, there's this doll wedding. I don't know if it happens in the West as well. So this is like that. You are the self. You are not this body. You are not who the mind is claiming you to be. So these notions don't apply to you. And safely they can be let go of. Now Bhagavan also realized that for many, just to remind you that you are the self is not enough. Just to remind you that you are the self is not enough. So then there is the next chapter. Now I might get the sequence a bit wrong, or I might present a different sequence. So I would in fact say the next chapter could be surrender. What does surrender mean? That even if you consider yourself yet to be limited, even then you have come to trust a greater power. Even if you consider yourself to be a limited entity, you have come to trust a greater divine presence, either appearing in outward form of a master or the inner divine presence of your being, of the Sadguru within, the intuitive presence. And because you find that this one is the divine presence, then you can safely allow these notions to be dealt with by that divine. What are we surrendering? When we say, I surrender my life, what are we actually surrendering? We're surrendering all ideas of control. We're surrendering all ideas of peace this way or that way. We're not talking about that half surrender, which is just dealing with, Bhagwan, I surrender to you, but make sure I go left. You drive this car, please. I hand over to you. Please, remember, we have to go left. This is what most surrender looks like, but we're not talking about that surrender. We're talking about that saying left, right, stay here, anything backwards, forwards. You do and you experience. What is this? Motionlessness. Came back to the same place. When I surrender this with my father's public, what is left for me to do with? None of what the mind is saying. So motionlessness. Then what Bhagavan would have actually said, it's probably said in the book, is first is self-inquiry, which means ask yourself, who are you? Who am I? Or you would say, what does I represent? And quite sincerely, like somewhere maybe we've done a disservice to the inquiry by making it who am I? But more sincerely, who are you? Who am I? It's not a mantra. It can. Anything, can, anything with devotion can serve as a good mantra. But I'm saying that it's a question. It's an inquiry. Who are you? And on what basis are you making the claim of your limitation? You find motion after motion. Like a house of cards, I call it of motion. I was born here, then I lived there, then I went there, then I went to this, to this. It's like a complete house of mirrors everywhere. Motion to find out, okay, what is that motion? We will look at another motion. But who are you? You cannot find this limited object. Therefore, we are back to motionlessness. You cannot find this one. And it becomes clear that I am that about which nothing can truly be spoken. So I am that on which no notion really can apply. Either clear. After this comes the difficult stuff. So far, what has been spoken is the direct stuff, and nothing else is actually needed. Okay. But if this notion persists that I'm not able to, or I can't see this, or it's too difficult, it's too abstract, okay, then the difficult stuff is also there. Because maybe this is too simple. Okay. Which means what? That there is another power that is needed for us to pick up ideas about ourselves. Okay. Even before belief can be given to it. So we looked at what to do with notions which call for our belief. We can surrender them, or we can inquire into the nature of them and see whether they're speaking the truth about us. Okay. Or we can look at this power called attention. Okay. Now, attention is completely in service to being in a way, and yet it seems to be quite a difficult quality to master. The famous example, don't think of a pink elephant. And you can decide that I will not do it. Don't think of a banana. No, you decide I will not do it. And yet in a second, it starts to come. So then unless attention goes to these thoughts, there's no question of believing them or not. So when we come into these realms of the so-called paths, then we come to the sadhana. We come to the sadhana. So don't keep your attention on the mind, you keep it on your breath. Don't keep your attention on thoughts, but keep it on the chanting. Um, um, Even to try and remain in the content of the now is like a sadhana. So fast. Sensation, feet, touching the floor. Really just the mindfulness, like taste the grape, be fully with the grape, this kind of. It is also like a sadhana. So that attention then is so focused on the activity itself, there is no scope for the emotions to be brought. So this realm of sadhana can be like this, and to control attention through various ways. And all of these sadhanas have their place, not against any of them. It's only that what is often seen in this play is that we strongly start identifying with our sadhana itself. I am a meditator. I meditated 5 hours yesterday in Shirsasana, upside down position. Like, oh, you meditated 5 hours? Oh, day yesterday I was in meditation. Beat that. Huh? Then it just becomes about minutes of meditation, how quiet the meditation was, how well we are doing the practice, how well we are really excelling at this craft of meditating. So the notions of other things might drop, but the notion of meditation itself seems to continue. The notion of other things might drop, but the notion of mindful, how mindful I am. We're giving so much mind to that. How to check these things? If somebody pokes it, then you know you're building an identity around it. If somebody pokes it and you get poked, right? Suppose you meditated 7 hours yesterday, and somebody comes here, you're just beginner level. No, you're not. What did you see? You saw 7 lights. Only this chakra is shining. Oh, abhi to your golden crown chakra has to shine. Then somebody will say, oh, only your crown chakra is shining. Abhi to you will come to astral travel and akashic record. Once you read that, then come and talk to me. Hey, so much ego around this so-called spiritual practice. To know that the practitioner identity is sitting full if upon poking you can seem to get or some agitation. Then some cannot do these kind of things. It feels like this is too much effort and my mind is so active, I can't do any of this. Mhm. Then maybe you could do some devotional singing or do some hatha yoga. It's very good because in a way that all these things are available because when you go through this beautifully designed techniques, we come to the Shanti that we are looking for from right in the beginning. But in all of these, there's also the potential to create a lot of lack of peace. Because you start to practice, it's so beautiful, Hatha Yoga. But very quickly, the mind will sell you the story that you must become a Hatha Yoga Olympian or something, world class gold medalist. Right, advanced thing, super advanced, super Patanjali advanced. You know? So all these kind of things in themselves are very beautiful and very well designed. But when they take on, we put a lot of notions around them, then it can seem like the notions of the practice itself seem to overwhelm the motionlessness which the practices are invoking in some way. So like Radha is a champion singer, but, but I remember telling her that sing, but don't become a singer. It's very possible for us to take on something so beautiful as devotional singing itself, and for even that to become egoistic. And I have to say that I'm very happy that never, not once have I ever felt that she has taken that on the singer identity as a big part of her position or something like that. The her part gets us in trouble. Meditator, the meditation is fine. Singer, the singing is fine. But when you feel like this has become my new identity, and you know that all identity is false and ultimately will lead to suffering. So the lack of peace is because the idea that I know something, what does it mean that I know something means I'm right about something? That's why this famous thing, which is very popularly said, do you want to be happy or do you want to be right? Is actually very beautiful. You cannot suffer unless you feel you're right about something. This is the thing about belief. I know I've been rambling on for some time, but if you can hear this part, it's really important. Your beliefs will always feel right to you. That is the nature of belief itself. That's why you believe them. They will always feel that they are right. Nobody has a belief saying, I feel like I'm. No, in the sense that they having a belief that I'm the king of the world. But actually, they're feeling like it is not right. It is wrong. I'm not the king of the world. So then it will cancel itself out and come to this neutrality. Our belief system feels completely right to us. And that is why teachers like Adesh Anti will say that spirituality is a completely destructive process. But what is it actually destroying? It is not trying to destroy your house or your life or your relationships. What is it actually destroying? Our belief system. Whatever we think we are right about, it is going to get faced with this stark, naked reality that you are not. But because in their very nature they feel right to you, it can feel destructive when they are confronted. And that is why the master is always there to hold your hand, to love you along the way, because they will remember that in the play of their lives also, when their beliefs are being confronted, it can seem like a tough situation at times. It can feel like I'm being destroyed. He's pulling the ground from under my feet. And I see no place where I can land now. I'm just going to be lost. It can feel like that. Because the direct sages will not replace your conceptual house with a different, better looking house. They will just burn it down. Remember that they never come uninvited. You made a prayer. You said, please, I'm ready to give up everything. I want only the truth. Whether you said it in this way or not. That's why they show up. And, okay, you asked for it. Now give me everything. I don't want your stuff. What will I do with stuff? Hmm? I don't want your stuff. I want every notion that you think is right. Hmm? So what are you hiding in your attic? You have a basement. You feel like, oh, rest of the house will burn. But I'll be. This part the guru will not see because it's a basement. It's a secret place. Yeah? So it can be like alone with my thoughts. At least these I can enjoy. This I'm definitely right about. I can feel like I'm wrong about everything. It can be even silly like this. I'm wrong about everything, relationship, money, this, that, everything I'm wrong about. But the president of one country, I'm definitely right about. I know him. I know how he is. You know? I'll just come to the question in a minute. But many times in India, they were saying that many times the whole elephant goes through the hole, but the tail gets left. Many times the silly ideas, you'll find it funny that many of you have given up the global idea, the more seeming important ideas in your life. But what keeps you caught up is just some strange silliness. Our judgments, our interpretation, our made up, our labels, our labeling nothing. And I'm aware that this is completely self-referential, okay? So sometimes I get these complaints that, but then doesn't it apply to everything you're saying as well? It does. It completely does. And yet, this is the funny part of the play. Is it? It has to be said and then left. Is it? It's just like something is on fire, then you put water. But when the fire is out, then no need to put any more. Bhagwan's analogy of using thorns to remove other thorns and then throwing the thorn away very much applies. Maharaj, Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj said, the only truth I can speak is that I am. But ultimately, even that is not true. So then can we say that nothing, that whole thick book is not needed? I am that. From the ultimate perspective, we can say that as long as the limited perspective is being believed, it is very helpful. So no words are truly needed in reality. And yet in this play of consciousness, when our limitation seems to be, let's see, we can come up with a nice metaphor for this. You all know that I take this example. I'm saying, Ishwari, I have a very good friend. I feel like if you meet this lady, you will feel like she's your best friend. Yeah? So Ishwari will say, okay, Father, when are you introducing me? I'm like, I can't introduce you. And then she'll say, why not? You just said she can be my best friend. I said, yeah, but she's formless. So, what do you mean by that? You see, at least I need a photo. At least I need one phone conversation. You see? But once you've had that, because you got so conditioned to name and form, then you know somebody for some time and you had beautiful exchanges, then to love this one, you need to constantly see their photo or hear their voice. You don't. So because we got so used to name and form, then the master also appears in form and then uses language, signs, all of these things which he himself also demolishes. Mhm. But once it is recognized for yourself what that is, who the master is, then you don't need name and form anymore. Some of you have been in the company of some sages, like you've been where there are few, like two, three sages sitting. Imagine how blessed we are in this life. You had these kind of occasion also. But you know what they talk about? They usually just either sitting in silence, just enjoying each other's presence, or they're speaking of very mundane stuff like lunch. They are not saying what is the true nature of reality. Is it awareness before consciousness or consciousness before awareness? They are not having these conversations because there is no need for these thoughts anymore. Because even these ultimately are conceptual. But as long as we feel our house of cards is real, then something has to come and set it on fire. So when the words are spoken in satsang, it does not imply that they have some certificate of truth or something like this, but they are definitely pointing you to a different place compared to where the words of the mind are pointing, to like a placeless place. Now, after I've spoken so much, some of you might feel so, what should I do? I just remain with the concept I am the self, self, self. Or should I inquire? Who am I? Who am I? Should I surrender? He presumed to be sharing some clarity, but he's even more confused me because now at least I was settled in with a particular methodology to get to the truth. But now I'm confused, surrender or inquiry or chanting or mindfulness or bhajan or hatha yoga. What am I supposed to do? Now here is the paradox that without any of this, you are full, complete, enlightened right now. The most enlightened being you ever want to meet is your very presence. I said one time in the retreat, if you feel like you have to meditate for 10,000 years to find the truth, then I can tell you that you have finished 9,999 years, 365 days, 23 hours, 59 minutes, and 59 seconds already. This is that moment of truth. Don't waste it. Meet yourself. This is God, Guru, Self. You don't need anything to become anything more. You don't need to become more worthy. You don't need to become more devoted. You don't need to become more practiced. You don't need to become more anything. You're already the most. Sometimes like this, only you sitting in the retreat, I was feeling, wow, today I feel like everybody saw that there is this God, this being, which I called personal, is actually the presence of the divine. I said, imagine the light. In this moment is a bit like that. Because I don't feel like any of you have not heard or seen what I'm pointing to. So God is now, being is now, self is now. It's completely apparent. Now the mind will want to go mental with this. The mind will want to go mental with this. You can even use this God is now in a very like mental way, without any perfume of actual insight. Right? Like, oh, but God is now. Oh, and what is the benefit of that mental thing? Nothing. At best, you will become like an Advaita troll on Facebook. That is the maximum graduation you can get with mental Advaita knowledge. So it is not about giving yourself this mental certificate. It is not a conceptual knowing that God is now. It is your very being. Let's look at a question before we sign off. Beloved Father, I have a question. Today I have to choose between staying at home, meditating, and following your satsang, but with no money, or going to stay in a psychiatric hospital for 1 or 2 weeks in order to get a certificate to help me financially. Do you have a feeling about this choice that I have to make? Thank you. I have a question. Today I have to choose between staying at home, meditating, and following your satsang, but with no money, or going to stay in a psychiatric hospital for 1 or 2 weeks in order to get a certificate to help me financially. Do you have a feeling about this choice that I have to make? There was one time that this is an answer to your question. There was one time that we were watching Guruji's retreat at home, and somebody came from the Sangha, the Muji Sangha. They were visiting Bangalore for a few days, so he was there at the retreat. And then he came to me with his dilemma. He said, Ananta, there is this other Guruji who is visiting Bangalore, and I've always wanted to see him. So, what should I do? Should I come for the retreat video, which I can watch later also, or should I go and visit that master? Obviously, some condition here. Wanted to say, no, of course, Guruji retreat. Always. Sometimes I can observe this conditioning also. So I said, go wherever your feet take you. You don't decide if the decision is not clear. Then you let life decide, and you will know which way your feet are moving. But inside, I have to be honest and say there was a hope that he'll come to the retreat. So then, as it happened, he didn't come. Itself surprised me a bit. He didn't come. But the day after that, he came and he said, "Thank you so much for giving me that advice. I had to go over there, and I'm so glad I went. I'm so glad I went because unless I'd gone, I would never have figured that that's not for me." So we can never presume in which way life will go or what has to happen. Sometimes life puts us in these kind of situations where it seems so unclear, even in those of you who are intuitively strong, it can feel like, but my intuition is just silent. But remember that the silence of intuition is the answer of intuition. Remember that the silence of intuition is also an answer from intuition. It can be a difficult answer to swallow because otherwise it can feel like I have a cheat code to life, man. I can just go to my heart and it just left, right. I have become a millionaire soon, or enlightened soon, or whatever. It can be selfish in the usage like that. So many times your intuition will just be fine. It's like a story about Bhagwan. It seemed like there was a time where Bhagwan was not answering 95% of the questions. But that was the answer. That not answering was the answer. In the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, there is a story about a sage. This other great master said to his son or his disciple, saying that you have become very advanced now, I am not able to help you anymore. You have to go to this sage who is really a Brahma Rishi or something like that. So he came to the sage. I feel somehow it was Yajnavalkya, but maybe it was not. So this sage was sitting over there. This student comes and says, Master, my master, let's say Vashisht for the moment. My master Vashisht sent me to you because he said you will be able to help me. And this master is just sitting quiet. And he said, maybe master's old, maybe hard of hearing. He said loudly, Master, my master, Vashisht has sent me. And he said that you will definitely help me come to the final. truth. You tried a few more times. Then, as obviously, when things don't go as planned, what comes? Anger. Yeah, what then? What do the disciples say? You must be fully arrogant. Our master must be mistaken. You are not an enlightened being. You are so arrogant. You're not answering anything that I'm asking. So then this master spoke. He said, you have been asking me, and I have been answering you. When will you listen? And it's so beautiful because ultimately we have to be rid of this yes and no, truth and false, right and wrong, left and right, up and down. These are just ideas. They have nothing to do with reality. Of course, the mind will fight. They say, "Yeah, but I have to decide whether I go to psychiatric ward or go to Satsang." Like my master says, if it is not clear, then leave it, don't decide. Let it unfold on its own. And I'm fully aware that this kind of satsang is big burning. Right? Because it might feel like, but you're my father, I call you father. The least you can do is help me with this simple decision. But I am helping you. At the beginning of satsang, the me was very angry. Yes, we just spoke about anger. Very angry that you're burning this house down. Now all there is gratitude. Carry on. Remember, I have your permission, okay? Hmm. Father, whenever you speak, let me see if I can speak slower. Whenever you speak, the sound of your voice is accompanied by a lot of digital background noise, and I find it difficult to understand what words you are saying, even with earphones. It was bringing a lot of frustration as I value your pointings, but I have surrendered to it being this way, and I fall at your feet in my heart, and I realize that this is the best pointing. There is some audio difficulty when if you're reporting that. Father, I cannot stand the person anymore. The harder I try, the worse it seems to get. It is creating a lot of suffering. Could you speak little about that? Yes, my dear, that's why remember that I'm not really proposing a strategy. Some of you had written this, maybe it was a bit cryptic, these ramblings that came the other day about these ploys that we have are the strategies for freedom. What are some of the popular ones? I want the truth, so then I can be at peace. So it's still like, with the notion of getting something that you want the truth. Then I just want to kill the ego, like this kind of thing. No, I cannot stand the person anymore. I just want to kill the person so that then I can be at peace. This killing strategy also doesn't work because the person wants to kill the person. Like Bhagwan said, you know, the thief dressed up as the policeman, pretending to catch the thief. There are more strategies. I want to love the ego to death. It sounds very attractive actually, because it's love, you know. I want to love the ego to death. Okay? What does it actually mean? And we feel like we can fool our mind, we can fool ourselves with these kind of silly tactics. It means actually I hate my mind. I want to be rid of it. But I'm just going to pretend so well and act so well that I just pretend as if I'm hugging it, but actually I wanted to go. You see the dichotomy there, that inwardly you feel like you must be rid of it. See? So it's like saying, I want to love someone so that I can be rid of them. See? So you feel like you can hide this intent from the mind. You can act so well that you're so smart that in front of the mind you just come and realize that when are you going to go? Is it? So these kind of things are very popular because you can feel like it gives us a strategy to be rid of the person. But there is no such strategy. It is more immediate, more open, more naked than that. And to find God now, you don't need a strategy. The trying to find will get in the way. You see? To recognize God now does not need a plan. To see that the person is not here now, the one that you cannot stand is the only one. The one that is saying, I cannot stand the person anymore, is the only thing personal in this moment, in that moment of saying. You see? But now even that is gone. You're absolutely right. The harder you try, the worse it will seem to get because it just activates this whole personal intent to be rid of the person. And if it's not clear, we can share a bit more tomorrow. Today, anyway, the audio is bad, so it must be a bit irritating to hear. Thank you all so much for being in Satsang today, in spite of all the audio difficulties. Satguru Shri Muji Baba ki Jai.
Satguru Shri Ananta Ji ki Jai.
Guru Kripa Kevalam.